24 is Jahrome Hughes from the Melbourne Storm.
Nice touch, very, very nice touch from the gentleman behind Jahrome Hughes, which is an amazing achievement. To see what he has achieved this year, he finished on 62 points, just one clear. It was riveting stuff. The SEN Player of the Year, James Tedesco. So that was validated because he only just snuck home Jahrome Hughes. Next best was Daly Cherry Evans, 10 points. So big second half of the season, got the Storm halfback, and he did rest. He rested. I wonder how Craig Bellamy was feeling when he got, oh no, he might miss out here. And he had rested him, but thankfully he made it.
Any financial reward for the Dally M? Has to be something.
I think it's duck egg.
Duck egg?
Yeah, I think it's duck.
How many Kiwis have won the Dally M? Roger. Taumalolo.
Yep.
Did play for New Zealand.
Yeah, that'd be about it, I reckon.
That'd be it.
Oh, Gary Freeman. Gary Freeman, of course. He won the Dally M. He does a bit of work on SEN as well. He was sitting in 15th when voting went behind closed doors, but very fitting. The race, so to speak, was at Randwick, and Chautauqua went boom. Over the top he came. Hughes will be in rare air. So this has turned up a little bit on social media, and I absolutely bloody love it, right? Where he's looking to be in rare air. Only 8 players have won the Dally M and then won the grand final. Only 8 players in the history of the game have won the Dally M and then won the grand final. But if he can win the Clive Churchill, he'll join Peter Sterling, who got it in 1986, and Jonathan Thurston in 2015 to win the Dally M medal and the Clive Churchill medal in the same season. That is air of the rare.
So we're saying based off that stat of 8 convert from Dally M to Premiership, that we're tipping towards Penrith now?
No, I'll tell you what, I'm actually going the other way, Missile. I'm actually saying that if we've only had of the last 45...
Oh, we're due.
8 players win a... No, I mean this sincerely. I mean this very sincerely. If we're saying that only 8 players of the 45 years have won the Dally M and then just simply won the competition, I'm personally saying that we haven't nailed the criteria to win.
Dally M, yeah.
Surely that number out of 45 has to be 15 out of 45, or it can't be 8.
Well, I always think with the Dally M's, and they say, we don't count finals for Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Dally M's, all of that stuff. We're a competition where literally the only thing that matters is finals.
Yeah.
The entire season means nothing.
Yeah.
We get to the end of the year and say, oh, you came 2nd through 7th? Like, we don't care.
Imagine the Olympics, right? And you said, 5 days out, you said that the swimmer of the year is... And then the Olympics happen, and then somebody just goes breaks all these records. That's a kind of fair... I know it's hard. I do know it's hard. And the question is, do you get the interest if it happens after the grand final? But I just personally feel like if we only had 8 players who have won the Clive Churchill go on to win a premiership out of 45, to me, that is very, very low.
Well, if we include finals, Jahrome Hughes kicks away, right? Because in both finals games, he scores 3 points and he kicks clear. Teddy maybe scores points in that second Roosters game against Manly. Daly maybe scores some points in that first week against the Bulldogs, but that's it.
So there you go. That's a fair question. I suppose the downfall for that is that the best teams are going to have a week off. If they win early... So anyway, it doesn't matter. The best player of the year won. We all agree the best player won, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we do.
I would have been seriously pissed off if Jahrome Hughes missed this one. Particularly like Teddy and Daly, who were close at different times, were not that close in performance this year to Jahrome Hughes.
Yep. No, I get that. Craig Bellamy won Coach of the Year. 7th time the Storm leader has won the award, but it's his 10th grand final coming up. So is that also in line? Captain of the Year goes to Stephen Crichton. Here's what Cooper Cronk had to say on Nicho Hines, by the way, who picked up the Ken Stevens medal.
Nicho Hines fails to pole and remains on 30 points.
For no reason.
Then why'd you put that in?
Just a drive-by from Cooper Cronk during the awards.
No, it wasn't a drive-by.
I know.
He's inexperienced at doing that stuff, and he just read out what it was.
I know.
But you got to feel for Nicho. Olivia Kernick, by the way, she wins the Women's Dally M medal. I have already tipped her on the feed. What are you really gambling with? So this is a girl, Olivia Kernick, who has scored in both her games against the Sharks. Both the times she's played them, they've won 13 plus. She was the 2022 back row of the year. Now she is the Dally M Player of the Year. She's running around at a huge price in a grand final for a team who was so short. What are you really gambling with? Do as you please, but that's on the feed if you want to go and check that out. 1300 01 1170 or text 0457 736 736. Your man got the Captain of the Year. In fact, before we do that, here's Olivia Kernick on winning the Dally M.
I'm really feeling the love today and super excited and honoured to receive the award last night. But, super keen to get into training tonight and prepare for the grand final this weekend.
Did you realistically, honestly think that you were a chance to win, Olivia?
Genuinely, I had no clue, didn't really think about it. I was only told I was nominated for Team of the Year and, so genuinely just didn't even expect it, and so it was a big shock to me last night.
Alrighty, if you get invited to these events and you look around in positional awards and there's no one else here, you're a big chance. Let me just give you that for free, Olivia. Well done to you, though. What a great player. She's a 70-minute back rower. What a great player. She'll be there ready to go for the Roosters taking on the Sharkies, Tony Herman Sharks, who also have done a wonderful job. He was nominated for the Coach of the Year. Scotty Prince picked up the NRLW Coach of the Year. The NRLW Rookie of the Year went to Jack Bostock. Any surprises in the Team of the Year? So you've got that in front of you there, Miss Holland. Any surprises?
Yeah, well, how about I run through them, Joel, and you tell me who was unlucky to miss out or bang on. Fullback Teddy, James Sirsko.
Yep. I won't intervene unless I've got a...
All right. Yep. Wingers, Zach Lomax and Brian Toto. Centres, Stephen Crichton and Herbie Farnworth. Still happy. 5'8", Tom Dearden.
Love Tommy Dearden. Personally, I honestly felt like, if you think about the stars around Tom Dearden versus Matt Burton, I had Matt Burton, Fletch had Jahrome Hughes, but Tommy Dearden, you can't help but love him.
Alrighty. Halfback, Jahrome Hughes, speaks for itself. Hooker, Harry Grant.
Big case for Blake Brayley, I thought. He had a wonderful season, but you can't knock Harold.
Props, Joe Tapine and Adam Fanua-Blake.
I selected Joe Tarpany. Fletch selected Adam Fanua-Blake, so we're both happy with that.
Second row, Angus Crichton and Ellie Katoa.
I personally felt like Kikau deserves a spot there. He was, if it's on points, I don't know how they both ran over the top of him, but I thought Kikau had a wonderful season.
And lock Isaiah Yeo.
No further questions, Your Honour.
Alrighty. So no big surprises there, basically.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Have your say on the Cyclone Tools call line 1300 01 1170. The right tool for the job. Prime Minister's 13 team has been announced by the Australian Rugby League Commission and the Prime Minister, the Honourable Anthony Albanese. He was on Vossi and Brandy this morning, was he not? He was, because we've got some audio here. Let's go straight to that on some of those players being selected.
Fletcher Sharp will be playing at fullback from the Knights. He plays for the wing, of course, because they've got a fellow called Ponga there normally, but he is an outstanding talent. People like a whole bunch of young guns. Lockie Galvin is, I think, sensational. Playing 5'8" for a team that didn't have its best year, the Knights. Tallis Duncan, I think, will be a gun for my team, the Rabbitohs. He's like a Cameron Murray put on the photocopier, I think.
Agreed.
And so players like that with that experience, and then mixing it up with some veterans. Damien Cook will be the captain. South Sydney Rabbitoh off to St George, but he'll, I think, lead the team around the ground with great distinction. Luke Brooks. So that mix of experience and young guns, future Kangaroos, is certainly what Mal Meninga wanted.
There you go. That's the Prime Minister talking all things rugby league and the Prime Minister's 13. Lockie Galvin, as we said, he's in the side. And I think it's a really good chance for these players to wear the green and gold. I like the inclusion of Fletcher Sharp, Alex Seyfarth. He's there, Xavier Savage. Dylan Lucas has done a good job there with the Newcastle Knights. Khan Pereira on his way to breaking plenty of records. Kobe Hetherington, who was told he could leave the Broncos, and the Mad said, "Oh, whoa. Have we kept the receipt? We want to keep Kobe. Let's bring him back." And it's a wonderful initiative.
This is the weirdest looking team I've ever seen. This is a weird team.
It always is.
We have way too many backs. We've got Dylan Lucas, Alex Seyfarth, Jacob Little, Sean Russell. Didn't even play that much. He was injured for a large part of the year. Weird team. What would happen? Sometimes you got to call it as you see it.
Get him back on. Get Albo back on.
That's a weird team. So what happens? So Albo is a South Sydney fan.
Yeah.
And a bit of I guess you call it nepotism here. He's picked Damien Cook as the captain of that's pretty straight, cut and dry.
Yep.
What happens if either A, we have a Melburnian Prime Minister and he has to pick a Prime Minister's 13, or
Jai Russo straight in.
What if Albo had to pick a team for the AFL, like a Prime Minister's 13?
Yeah.
Prime Ministers, whatever they are, 20-something.
Does he actually pick the team? Do we know?
There's no way he picks that team. He didn't even know who Fletcher Sharp was. There was another player, I think he said Lachlan Galvin's been good at a team that's struggled this year in the Newcastle Knights. I don't think he watches that much rugby league, if we're being honest.
Tourist is down there. He said there's no Storm or Panthers in the side. Tourist, you know why they might not be in the side?
I know. I was just making reference. I was trying to list all the teams.
Okay.
I also said the Warriors don't have a player in the
That's
team.
true. But I conveniently left that out, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I did. Anyway, speaking of rep football, Mal Meninga was on the throwdown today with Jimmy Smith and had this to say about Kalyn Ponga playing for the Kangaroos.
What he said last night, I'm very thankful for. I think we had, it wasn't a strong conversation, Jimmy. It was more around an honest one. Around. Obviously obligations and processes that players and clubs need to undertake to make themselves available and unavailable, to be honest with you. And eligibility is another issue. We talked about that last week. But he's accepted that, and it's been the last conversation I had with him. He is always remorse and embarrassed by a little bit with it all. But in saying that, you didn't quite understand the processes. So all in all, Kalyn understands his obligations and he's made himself available for the green and gold. And like I said, through the week, he's in the top echelon of players. So he'll be under serious considerations to make the Kangaroos next week.
Joel, I haven't been on air really since this situation's happened. As someone who's represented Australia, and that was my goal in the sport, was to represent my country.
Yep.
Proudest moment of my career, representing my country. Not everyone feels the same patriotism or has the same goals.
Yep.
That's fine. I get it. If you don't, you're not to be picked again. If I'm a selector, I would now not pick Kalyn Ponga for a future Australian team. And I love Kalyn Ponga as a player. If I was a Knights fan, I'd be stoked because it means we don't lose him at the end of every year and risk him to injury. But if you're not patriotic about your country and it's not one of your main goals to play for Australia, that's completely fine. Every player has their own prerogative. But we don't want people pulling on the green and gold jersey who don't feel strongly about being there. That should be the pinnacle of the game. It clearly isn't at the moment. It very clearly isn't the pinnacle of the game right now. But that's, as far as Kalyn goes, that's fine. You want to win a comp with the Knights, get that. You're going to need a bit more than 3 extra weeks off at the end of the year. I'll give you the tip. But if you don't want to play for Australia, then you don't suddenly decide, I've had a come to Jesus moment. Now I want to play for Australia. Now I'm very proud of my country, and now I'm patriotic. No, you're a grown man now at an age where you understand what it means to be an Australian and to represent your country and to be thankful for the place you grew up and to represent said place. So love Kalyn as a player. Probably was my favourite player this year, even as a Bulldogs fan. But not to be picked again.
Fair. I understand your point of view, and I wouldn't argue with any of that. Not to be picked again, fair enough. The only thing I was saying, we had Tommy Simons in yesterday for the RLPA, is that we're seeing this from our point of view, right? So we've been watching the games on the lounge and doing that. These guys, you have no idea how bloody taxing it is. Well, you would, Missile, you would with what you do, but They have been up for so long. They're not robots, right? They're not robots. He also lives in very much a bubble in Newcastle where he is the item. So wherever he goes, Kalyn Ponga. So he's not just tired from playing. He's tired from every time he goes to the cafe, people are dragging him and he's trying to be polite and appease everyone. And I can understand where he's just like, I'm no certainty to be the fullback, which is where I want to play. You've got Edwards and Pappenhausen still in the mix, and you've got Tedesco and all that sort of thing. And B, I'm just tired. I just need a break. I'm not a robot. I get what you're saying, and I get the rationale, and I accept, if I was him, mate, you had a chance to possibly play for Australia. You came out. I get all that. But I also understand the human side of things.
Yeah, I understand the being tired thing as well. But if that's the pinnacle of the game, that's like saying, all right, there's a grand final on this weekend, Kalyn. Do you want to play in it? I'm tired.
No. But that's the pinnacle of the game to us. To us, that's the pinnacle of the game. To him, who grew up in New Zealand, he may not have the same love affair of playing for Australia, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. So if that's the case, then you don't pick him for Australia. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But the other part of it is too that he's getting ridiculous amounts of money to play for Newcastle. So he almost might harbour guilt. Maybe that's the wrong way to say that, but where he's going, I'm getting paid so much to play, I'm completely zonked and I need a break. And really, do I owe it to Australia or do I owe it to the people who are paying all this money to have me? And he did it with Queensland last year, and he rested there, and he went on that run, won the Dally M, got his side to the final. So I'm open-minded to it, but at the same time, you make your bed, you lie in it. If what you say is true, he should be banned from Australia. I also accept and understand that. Not that I need to accept and understand that. It's all about that man, Kalyn Ponga. 1300 01 1170 is the way to have your say. Just before we go to the break, Brian Tottle's game day breakfast leaves Panthers teammates disgusted. Michael Carianis and Fatima Kadu through the Daily Telegraph. I always get 2 breakfast burgers, a bowl of chips, and 5 to 6 Coke Zeros every day, every game day. That's just the norm for me for a very long time. I've been sticking with it. This is Brian Tottle, every game day, 2 breakfast burgers, a bowl of chips, and 5 to 6 Coke Zeros, says Brian Tottle.
And still looks shredded out of his mind.
Oh, wow.
One of the great rigs in rugby league.
Yeah.
Eats 2 breakfast burgers, a bowl of chips, 6 Coke Zeros. I'd love to see a stat on how many calories they burn in that 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of his last meals for the day because, as you get closer to game day or race or whatever, the butterflies start and you lose your hunger.
Would he be having his Coke Zeros maybe on the way to the game as well? Would you think? And just on the calories,
yeah,
Missile,
potentially. Yeah.
Is there a measurement for that? Because we know that, like, I remember when we were playing. Like,
yeah, there is.
They'd measure you before the game, and then you might be 84 kilos. And yes, I was 84 kilos once, believe it or not. And then after the game, you might be 81 kilos. So you'd lose 3 kilos in a game. What's the measurement for the calories?
Yeah, there's wearables. Well, calories burnt. So you can wear, like, the most common one at the moment is the Whoop band.
Yep.
That measures the calories you're burning when you're exercising.
Yep.
So it's a variable of heart rate, time, weight, a number of variables, but there's an algorithm and that ticks out how many calories that you've burnt. A lot of those players wear Whoops during training. I'm sure they'd have something similar in their GPS. So they'd have an idea. I'd be thinking they're burning 1,200, 1,500 calories in a game.
What's that called, that thing?
A Whoop. WHOOP.
I'll give you a Whoop. We're late for the break. We've got to go to the break now. The run home with Joel and Fletch.